Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to all of you for being making time to be with us today. I'm from the Marianas, and we have one economy. We're trying to diversify to get because we've seen a lot of interest with regards to manufacturing, right? Folks who want to come and set up shop there. So I'm very focused on the conversation with regards to retaining the right amount of workforce to be able to sustain manufacturing, because that is our biggest challenge. And so we've talked about the problems, right? I think a lot of you have kind of alluded to different things. I'm kind of more focused on what is it that Congress can do to actually address the problem so that, however many years from now, we don't have this massive amount of shortage, right, that can't sustain your industry. And I'll open up the floor to whoever wants to answer first.
I can go first here.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, we haven't talked that much about healthcare, and we know about these credits that are expiring. I just don't think we should keep subsidizing a broken system. The healthcare system is broken. We need a new strategy. So to the extent that we continue to tax ourselves to pay for a broken strategy, and then us employers, it costs us more to provide health insurance for our employees, that's what's got to stop. So this isn't about whether or not to extend a credit on a failing system. Throw out the system and start over and find a system that works and is cost competitive with the rest of the world.
Well, I could put that in perspective. It turns out that the average healthcare cost of a family of four in the U.S. equals the average wage of a Chinese worker. And the healthcare cost of the family in the U.S. gets built into the burden, that gets built into the cost, that gets built into the price, and therefore the healthcare cost, the higher healthcare cost in the U.S. is a major reason why our costs are too high and why we lose based on cost or price relative to countries like China. So I agree entirely that something has to be done.
Can I follow up then? So are you attributing that cost to the inability to retain workforce?
It makes our costs, the cost of making a product, too high in the U.S. relative to other countries, and therefore U.S. companies choose to import low-priced products from offshore instead of buying higher-priced, more or less equivalent products here in the United States.
So I think there's two angles here. One, from the healthcare perspective, certainly manufacturers view that as a critical tool to attract and retain talent. Across the industry, 95% of manufacturing workers are eligible for a workforce health care plan through their employer. North of 80% actually participate in one. We have certainly heard, as has been referenced from our members, that the rising costs of healthcare are a significant cost driver for manufacturers, and so it certainly would help with the workforce situation to reduce those costs. On sort of pure workforce policy, we certainly should support more training programs and apprenticeships. We've talked some today about education about what the manufacturing industry is. It's not your grandfather's manufacturing industry anymore. It's not dark, dirty, and dangerous. It's cutting edge, it's innovative, it's well paid. These are family sustaining careers. And so if we're supporting career and technical education programs to get manufacturing workers out of the CTE programs and onto manufacturing shop floors, that's a huge step in the right direction of building the manufacturing workforce of the future, in addition to immigration policies that help us fill the jobs that we might not be able to fill with the domestic workforce. So there's a lot of pieces to that puzzle to ensure that we have the skilled workers that we need to drive manufacturing forward.
Okay. I have a follow-up question for you, Mr. Crane. So, in your testimony, you describe how large companies often have the resources to maintain internal training programs that small businesses lack, and you mentioned the need for policies that would allow small businesses to close that gap. Can you just be a little bit more specific so that we get an idea of what your thoughts are on that issue?
Absolutely. What we have heard from so many of our members is that they actually partner with local community colleges, CTE institutions, to set up training programs, or to even just ensure that the existing programs that that community college has are reflective of the skills that manufacturers need. And so from my perspective, continued focus on those skills specifically, and in helping prospective students or adults who want to go back to school, or even adults who are employed who want to gain those skills, that we're really focusing from a policy apparatus on manufacturing specific skills. So machinists, technicians, welders, electricians, et cetera. If you have those certifications, that's going to set you up for success in manufacturing and help the industry writ large.
I'm out of time. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.